Welcome to Crafting on the Plains. My name is Jacinta. This is my channel about cross stitch, knitting, sewing, quilting, and whatever other crafty endeavors I happen to get up to, which this week that is very relevant because I have a new craft to show you. So I'm going to be showing you some cross stitch. I have a big finish. I'm going to be showing you some sewing, talking about some plans, and some just sort of different things that I've been doing. So thank you so much for joining me. If you are a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I hope that you have been doing well over the last couple weeks since I last posted a video, and I'm very excited to be back talking to you again. So I'm going to just jump right into it and just start with my big finish. Actually, really quick before I just jump right into it, I do want to let you know if you hear any weird background noise, everybody's at home today. This is an ice day. So I live in Oklahoma and we don't get as much snow days as we tend to get ice days, and that means that it does this horrible freezing rain drizzle thing, and then everything freezes over and you can't drive much for a couple days. So my road is like it's not a major traffic carrier, but it's a street that a lot of people drive down. So people are driving a little bit more loudly because they're like kind of going through the slush. And then my daughter and my husband are at home as well in the other room, trying to be quiet. But, if you have experience with 5-year-olds, sometimes being quiet is not their forte. So we'll see how this goes. But I'm going to get started with my big finish, and that is sampler. This is amazing. I'm so excited about this. This is Christmas Bell Sampler by Heartstring Samplery, and it is stitched on 36 count Winter Moon by Zweigart. It's stitched 2/2 with my own color and cotton conversion, except for the bells are the called for DMC like etoile. So they sparkle a little bit, if you can see that. But I am obsessed with this. I told you last episode about my Tale of Woe, where I lost the main green color that I was using. And I did find it again, and I did finish this up. I actually did finish this up on Epiphany, just like I was planning to do after my original plan of finishing it before Christmas failed. So this did get finished the weekend of Epiphany, and I put in my initials and the year. I wanted this to be a 23, but it's 24. So this is my first finish 2024, I think. Yeah, I think it was my first finish. If it wasn't my first finish, it was my second finish. I think it was my first finish 2024. And I have my conversion on my Instagram account. My Instagram is crafting.on.the.plains, and it is down below, as my Gmail is down below as well. So on my highlights on my Instagram page, I have a conversions highlight. But if you aren't on Instagram or you just want me to send it to you, please feel free to email me at my Gmail, and I am happy to type it up and send it to you. But I did do a full color and cotton conversion, and I love how this thing turned out. It's beautiful. This is the biggest project that I've ever finished, and I know that there are people that do much larger samplers than this, and I mean, I commend you. I have a couple bigger projects that are still whips, but this is the biggest project I have ever finished. I've only been stitching since 2019, so, but yeah, this is the biggest project I've ever finished. I don't remember the dimensions off the top of my head, but I'm either going to get it framed or I'm going to get a custom frame and frame it myself, but it's going to be framed before next Christmas, and it's going to be put up because it's beautiful, and this is one of my favorite carols. Very excited about that. Okay, moving on to my cross stitch whips. I'll start with my whip go piece that I had pulled out from last year, or from last time, my first call. This is Real Comfort by Modern Folk Embroidery. And I actually have my DMC with me this time so I can tell you which one I have. So I'm doing this on a 36 count or 32 count 2/2, and I have made quite a bit of progress on this. So the last time you saw this and the first time you saw this, I had done Austin 1817. I had done some of the words, and then I had done up until about like here-ish, somewhere in there. So I did quite a bit more of this border thing, whatever it is, the vine, and I have a headless bird. That's kind of hilarious. I did not mean to stop at the bird being headless, so that's just how it ended. I did the little stem, and then there's some like houses underneath here. The original pattern is charted to have an alphabet below this section. I don't like stitching alphabets, and I did not have a big enough piece of fabric, and I really wanted to do it on this fabric with this floss. So I'm just going to stop it after the houses that are at the bottom of the first section and not do the alphabet. So that's my main modification. And then I also changed, this originally had Jane Austen's death year, and then I think I don't know, it had another year that was relevant to when the piece was designed, but that I wasn't stitching it the year the piece was designed. So I moved her death year over here, and then I'm going to put her birth year over here, which is a modification a lot of other people have made. And I am stitching this with a DMC variegated, and that is DMC 4240. It's the purple one. It's coming up a lot more blue, at least on the camera for me, but it is quite purple. It's a blue, but it's also purple. So it's a bluish purple. And I'm very, very happy with this. I feel like this is one that if I really just buckled down and worked on it for a couple weeks, it would be done fairly quickly. I will probably go ahead and put this away though now until it gets called out for WIPGO again, just because I have a couple things that I'm going to be starting that I'm going to tell you about. And so I'm really excited about those pieces, and I want to start those. So I'm very happy about my progress on that one. And I'm trying to put everything back in the bag so I don't lose any more floss and have a fiasco like for Christmas bells. All right, my next couple pieces that I have been working on. My first one is Moon Glow. This one I actually have a physical pattern. Moon Glow by Nora Corbett. She's part of the Wild Threads. Sorry about that glare. Wild Threads collection. She's beautiful. And I am stitching her with a conversion mostly to DMC variegated. It is not my conversion. I will put the Instagram of the person below who the conversion is from, because I want to make sure that I credit them. So if you're interested in this conversion, look below, and if you can't figure out below, just put me a comment or send me an email or message me on Instagram, DM me on Instagram, and I'm happy to send you to the correct person, because I want to make sure that she's getting the credit for this conversion because it's amazing. So what I have here is a weird needle sticking out my project. Okay, there we go. So I did all of the hair of, I think that's all the hair, or most of the hair, if not all of the hair, most of the hair on this, the lady's head. I did her flowers in her hair. There's one more flower that's up here in this area that I haven't done yet. And this is, she has these beautiful flowers on her body that are also partially backstitched. So that's what that is. And then I went up here and I did some of this, I don't know what this is, stars, little floating things, whatever. They're these little motifs that kind of float around the top, just because this is the part up here whatever these are. As you can see, the conversion, the original has them being almost entirely pure white. And then the floss that it's converted to is a little bit of a white and blue variegated, but I think it looks fine. And so I do not like doing this type of confetti stitching and these types of little tiny motifs that are all spread out because I do not trust myself counting them. So I thought I'll go ahead and just get in some of these as early as I can in between doing the part I like, which is the actual, lady, and that way they're not left to the end. So there's that. And this is being stitched on a 32 count fiber on a whim in mint. I think it is fiber on a whim mint, and it is 2/2. And I'm doing 32 count because this has a lot of beads, like a lot. This is the bead pack. This is probably not a lot of beads for people that do a lot of Nora Corbett and memorabilia, but for me, this is a lot of beads. So I wanted to make sure the beads would fit, so I did the called for count. And this is a project bag that I made myself. My last whip is something. My last whip is Plum Street Samplers Spring Moon, and I love this piece. This piece has been hard to put down, which is funny because it doesn't look like I've made a ton of progress, but I have, and it's actually in the hoop because I was stitching on this earlier. Like this is the piece that I've been loving. I will say I feel like I've been doing a lot of stitching sessions on this, but this has been a lot of TV stitching, and when I'm stitching and watching Netflix, sometimes I do more watching than stitching because it's harder to remember where I'm at. So this is where I am, and I'm trying, I did part of the rabbit, I've filled in some of these flowers, did some of this, and then I'm really trying to get this basket done because the basket's quite large, and then this house. The moon, basically spring, summer, I think they just came up, winter moon. These series, I think the house and then the grass part, from what I've seen other people stitching, are the most dense parts of the patterns. And so I want to make sure that I'm getting down to that part as quickly as possible and not just doing this up above one part flowers, whatever, and then being stuck with just endless rows in the house. So trying to work my way down on that. And I am using the Vicki Clayton Silk Pack conversion that I'm keeping crinkle in these just little Flosstube bags. And I got this for Christmas from my husband. And it's a wonderful gift. And I am loving these silks. Now, I will say this is a 36 count. It is also fiber on whim. It is wheat. And I normally stitch 2/2 on 36 count. That's just my preference. I like a very full coverage stitch. This is a little bit more sparse. I think you can see that, especially the darker colors. It's a little bit more sparse, a little bit more prim looking, and it's taken me a little while to get used to that. I'm doing it 1/2 because number one, it's silk, and I've heard that that's better. It avoids like tangling, and it avoids like the silk rubbing together and things like that you don't want. I don't know, whatever. I've just heard for some reason do 1/2 on silk. And then also I am concerned that the exact amount of silk that I have in this pack was planned for 1/2, and if I did 2/2 that I would run out. So I am doing 1/2, and I am liking the way it looks. I'm really enjoying it. It's a different look, but it has taken me a little while to get over the sparseness, but I'm happy with it, and it's definitely, I think it works well for this piece, for this style of piece. I think it works well. Okay, now I have some plans, and I just realized I don't have my phone with me, and I want to make sure that I'm accurately telling you what my plans are. So, okay, Sorry, I thought I was prepped. Okay, so I have some plans that I'm really, really excited about, and I'm going to tell you about them now. So I have most of my plans and my sewing go together. So I'm just going to show you. So doing a separate sewing segment, it's related. So I made this weekend a new project bag, and I'm so excited about it. I can't. It's so adorable, and I love it so much. So this is the front. This is much more of a true purple. This, at least on my monitor, this is looking very blue. It's a purple. Like, this is the same color as like this thistle, but for some reason this part's coming up blue. That's very strange. And then the back is the same with thread hanging. That's funny. Okay. Oh, I still have my needle from where I just finished this binding this morning. Okay, that's cute. Okay, so the back is the same fabric, and then the inside is lined with the fabric that's on the top. I just felt like this hexagon print was too large, that if I cut it to this width, which I think is 2.5 inches, you would get like, you'd get part of it. It would look weird. So I did it like this. And then I did a purple zipper to match, and I'm so happy about this. So this fabric, sadly, is no longer available generally. I discovered it after it had gone out of print. This is Celtic Dreams by Lewis and Irene. I was able to find this on a couple different shops, but no one had a full collection. So I was able to get basically, like, I found one store and I think they had maybe 4 different fabrics, and so I was able to get a half yard of 4 different, which included these 2, and then there's another version of this, the hexi print, but it's a more, I think the background, instead of being cream, it's blue, and I think maybe some of the motifs are more blue. And then there's one that's like a floral thistle motif that I picked up as well. So you can still look around on the secondary market on Etsy for different people. They may be selling pieces of it. It is Celtic Dreams by Lewis and Irene. I love it. I was devastated when I found out that I couldn't get an entire, like, I wanted a fat quarter bundle and multiple full yards of this, but I got what I got. So I will say there is another collection by Lewis and Irene called Celtic Fairies that is similar to this one. It does not have this cute, like, hexagon with the Highland cow and like that type of thing, but it is like got Celtic knots, it's got fairies, it's got metallic, it's got thistles, it's got, So if you like this, I think at least as of this summer, Celtic Fairies was still just like generally available to purchase bundles and stuff. It wasn't like this one where it was getting hard to find. So I am so excited about this. I love this. I bought this this summer, and I knew I wanted to make at least one project bag out of it. And then when the SAL that I'm also going to be working on came up, I knew that I had to get a wiggle and make this project bag to put my SAL piece in it. So the SAL that I'm talking about is the Mighty Wee Nation SAL that is being hosted by Amanda, who's the Alba Stitcher. She is amazing. She's one of the people where if she puts out a video, I automatically gets bumped up to the top of my to watch list, because she's so I love her projects. I love her style. She's just fun to listen to. She's got a lot of interesting stories about her projects. She's done a lot of traveling, lived in different places. So she's just got a really interesting kind of life, and I love listening to her talk about her projects. So she is from Scotland, if you can guess from the Mighty Wee Nation SAL, and that's kind of what I'm leading up to. And so she's doing a SAL that is a stitch along that is focused on either Scottish designers or Scottish themed pieces. And so, of course, not only did I have this already ready to be made into a project bag, but I had a few, several designs from somebody called, and I'm looking down because I'm looking at my phone, Wanderling Stitches on Etsy. And she does these beautiful, let me see if I can show you. So the one I'm doing is called Hair and Thistles, and I'll put a picture of it on the screen. And it is a hair and thistles. She has a series basically of these hair patterns. And they're all different seasons. So she's got hair and thistles. I'm wondering if you can even see that. She's got like this is probably terrible, but she's got like the hair and cherry berries, sunflowers, all kinds of things. And then she has a number of other patterns, and I have had her on my to stitch list for probably a year. And so I said, oh, I think that there's a designer that I have been wanting to stitch a couple of her pieces, who's from Scotland, and so this would be perfect. And so I chose Hair and Thistles because it is a very, very Scottish theme pattern. But I'm still going to be stitched a couple other of her patterns. She's got a number of them that are really cute, but I felt like the thistle one matched perfectly with this bag. And I really like thistles a lot. I also stitched another thistle pattern recently. I told y'all that I went to Scotland this summer, and I've been having a really good time learning about the Scottish Gaelic language and the just a lot of information about the history and things like that, of Gaelic people and people in Scotland in general. So I'm really excited to participate in this, and it's been a great opportunity to use up some stuff that I've already had. So that was fun. So that is going to be, I'm going to start that. Her Sal starts on the 25th, which is Burns Night in Scotland. And so I'm going to be starting it on the 25th. I need to look. So they're ahead of where I am in the United States Central Time. So I think that I could get away with starting it maybe on the 24th, right? That might not be how math works. Anyway, so I have that I'm going to start on the 25th. And then I have another piece that I'm going to start on the 1st. And this is another really exciting start. So I'm going to be starting Bigfoot Bunch, which is another Plum Street. And I'm starting this with Sarah from Handmade by Sarah W. We have been chatting a lot. We discovered each other through, I saw her Flosstubes, and then I did her Stitch Along, the Stitchy Sisters Sal, and we ended up being in the same room at Jingle Ball, and we just have had so much fun chatting back and forth. And we both are really like these Plum Street, like the animal trios, because we have a family we both have family of 3, and we really like them for that reason. And so she saw that I had a number of these animal trios and reached out to me and said, do you want to start one together? You know, which ones do you have? Which one does she have? And we both had Bigfoot. And I'm really, really excited to start this one. I have, I think, all of the called for fancy floss, and I have almost all of the called for DMC, and it's not a big list of floss either. So I'm really excited. And I'm going to be starting both Bigfoot Bunch, which I'm starting on the 1st, and Hair and Thistle on this fabric, which is 36 count fiber on a whim, milk and honey. And I think it'll work well for both of them. It's a really nice neutral. So I'm very, very excited to be starting those. And I really, I'm just looking forward to 2024 being kind of a start all the things year. I told you before that I'm going to be doing 24 and 24. So those will be my 2nd and 3rd starts of the year. My plan is to start about 2 projects a month. If I start more than 2 projects a month, that's fine too, but I want to start minimum 2 projects a month. I think that's a reasonable amount of starts to be doing starting more things, which is my goal, but also not to get too overwhelmed. So I'm going to be doing about 2 starts a month. And so I'm very excited to do my second start of January and then my first start of February. Okay, I am going to move on to my knitting, and then I'm going to talk about a new craft that I got into that is also yarn related. So if you've seen my Instagram, you probably know what it is. So my knitting, I've been working on my blanket that I showed last time, but it is large and it's kind of hard to see progress because it's so big and the rows are so long. So I'll probably just pull that out to show you like maybe once a month or so. But this is my Miserina, which is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. And I am very excited. I have been getting a lot more into knitting, and I have several knitting patterns picked out that I'm thinking about casting on. I think just the colder weather always makes me more inspired to knit. When I start being able to pull out my knitwear and all of that, it just becomes a lot more exciting to work on my knitting projects. So this is the Miserina by Caitlin Hunter. I'm using 2 different yarns. My contrast color is Don't Let the Hard Days Win, which is it's a Court of Thorns and Roses inspired colorway by Dragon Horde Yarn. And it's a beautiful like dark purple, navy, and black-ish shade. This came out of a special edition box that she did, so I don't know if this colorway is generally available. And then this one, I actually don't have a lot of information about this yarn. I know it's from Apothecary, and I bought this yarn at Fiber Christmas in July, which I don't know. Okay, if you're in Oklahoma and you are a knitter or like a fiber person, please let me know if you know if this event still goes on. It's Fiber Christmas in July. It used to always happen in, I want to say, Bristow. And it was obviously in July. It was Christmas themed, and it was a yarn show where there was yarn and fiber vendors and classes and things like that. And I think I bought this there. I bought it in 2018, that much I know. And Apothecary, she is a yarn dyer from Arkansas. I'm pretty sure that she still sells, but I know that this yarn was mislabeled because I got it on a deal because she was like, that label is not what's on it. It was mislabeled somehow. So I don't know the colorway or the base, but it's really beautiful. And so I don't unfortunately have a lot of, but I remember specifically the dyer. She was so sweet and so kind. And I really, I hope she's still dying. And yeah, if any Oklahomans know about Fiber Christmas in July and if they still do it, let me know. Because I haven't been probably since 2018. So, okay. Might have been, no, I think it's 2018. Okay. No, it was 2019. That's right, 2019. And then 2020 happened, and then, people stopped going to things. So, all right. So, on to my knitting. So, this is my Miserina. I'm trying to find a good way to hold this up to show you. Here we are. So, I'm still on the yoke. This has taken me a billion years. I cast this on in May, y'all. Part of it is in the summer, I get really demotivated to knit sweaters because it's like 106 degrees outside and I don't want to think about wool. And then I also put this project on the back burner when I started working on my daughter's stuff. The other thing is that this yoke is complicated. This yoke has got color work, it's got cables, it's got lace, it's got all manner of things. And some days I just can't with it. So that's kind of bad. But anyway, but what I realized, I pulled this out to work on because I thought, I'm kind of feeling some sweater knitting because it's cold. And I realized that I am less than 10. At this point, I think I'm maybe like 6 or 7 rows, if that, maybe 5 rows from the bottom of the color work. So I'm almost done with this color work. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm not trying to discount this pattern at all. It's gorgeous. It's just, I did not really look at the pattern. I just saw the pattern, thought that's pretty, grabbed it, casted it on, and then found out what I was getting myself into. So that was my own fault, but I am almost done with the color work, and that really motivated me to say, okay, the end is in sight. Like, I can do this. So once I'm done with the color work, it's approximately around that time I'm going to split for the sleeves. The body does have a texture, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do the texture on the body because I think it's really beautiful. And originally the Miserina is designed to have short sleeves. I think I have enough yarn to do full, like at least 3/4 length sleeves. And if I have enough yarn to do 3/4 length sleeves, then I'm going to, because I would much prefer a 3/4 length or full length sleeved sweater. And then I will probably have this be slightly cropped, like not super cropped, but just a little bit cropped. So it like just goes like a little bit past the waistband of high-waisted jeans. That's sort of my preferred sweater length at the moment. All right, trying to put everything away so I don't lose things. So my new craft. Like I said, if you've seen my Instagram stories, then you may know what this is. I don't know how this happened. I don't know. I feel slightly ridiculous because I don't need a new hobby. But so last weekend, I think it was also really kind of like icy, and it kind of snowed, but it wasn't like enough to really play in. So it was like a bummer day, like not really a good snow day or anything. And then by midweek, it was back a low in the 60s. So it's kind of funny. We've had freezing weather, and then like balmy days, and then freezing again. But my daughter, for some reason, I don't know why, for some reason, we were looking at different patterns online, looking at crafts, and she saw like some knitted and sewn and crocheted little stuffies, like stuffed animals, and loved it, and was like, Mommy, can you buy this stuff and make it for me? And I remembered that back, I think it was 10 years ago, my husband and I were living in Oklahoma City. We had like a tiny little apartment, and we had gone to Aldi, and they had, I don't even have the box because the box was not in great shape, y'all. But they had on that like random aisle of Aldi scores, they had this little kit of woodland crochet creatures. And I bought it, and my husband, because even back then I did way too many crafts, my husband was like, Jacinta, you're never going to finish that. You're going to buy it and you're never going to finish it. And I mean, joke's on him, obviously, because merely a decade later, I finished this box. I literally, the head, the body, and one of the arms and the tail was crocheted back in, I want to say, 2014, 2015. And then we bought our house, we moved, we put it in a box, it got shoved into a thing, we got busy, we had a baby, we moved again, and I mean, pulled it out and finished it up. I did the other arm, I did the little cute feet, and my daughter loved it. And the kit came with enough to make 2 little animals. So not only did I do the fox, but I made this deer. Cute. Oh my gosh. I mean, are these a little bit suspect in their quality and structural integrity? Potentially, okay? But listen, it's so cute. Like, it's so sweet, and it's like laying down, and its little ears, and its little like, I don't know. I love it. I love this little deer. Oh my gosh. So then, I have tons of yarn scraps. So we were still stuck inside, and it was really cold, and my daughter was having fun. So then I just somehow ended up making this little bird. So cute. So this was in the little booklet that came with it. It had some additional animal instructions that you didn't get the supplies for. So I just made this out of stash. And then, I mean, you know, I had to, because the bird also came with instructions to make a little nest with a baby bird and little eggs. Like, come on, I had to make it. Like, it's so cute. It's also, you know, suspiciously, you know, created, but I love it. So, I mean, now we just have this little collection of like woodland crochet creatures that she just loves. She just loves them so much. And she may have, when we were at Joann's, or before we went to Joann's, actually talked me into buying all the supplies to make her another crochet animal that isn't even in the original Woodland Creatures Aldi crochet book. So this may have gotten a wee bit out of hand, but I'm having fun. It's a fun thing to do, and she's really, really enjoying it, like, a lot. And, you know, I think I've seen a couple people kind of talk about this, but, like, when you're, like, your kids are only going to be little for a short period of time, and there's going to be a day in the unfortunately not far away enough future when she is not going to think that her mom making her little stuffed like critters out of yarn is cool anymore, and she's not going to get excited about it. And so if she's enjoying and loving taking out crafts and with me and the process of crafting, and she's like, she really loves it because I let her help like stuff. She's still, we tried to do the crochet with her, but she's not really understanding the process, which of like getting everything woven in properly. But she does help stuff the little bodies, and she loves that. So you know, if she's loving it and I'm loving it, you know, all of the million whips that I have for myself can wait, because I can work on those when she's a snarky teenager and doesn't want me to make her things anymore. So anyway, that's the extent of my new craft. Is just a handful of woodland creatures. I don't know that kit still exists at Aldi. Like I said, this was 10 years ago. But I actually have seen other similar like crochet whatever. I think I saw a fairy tale one maybe. Aldi has these things. So if you are ever thinking, I might want to learn how to crochet little critters, you know, I don't know, you never know what you'll find at Aldi. So I hope that you've enjoyed my fairly eclectic episode at this point. Please, if you have not already, consider liking and subscribing my video. Please let me know what you are getting up to with your crafting, and I hope that you have a great next couple weeks.